Master plan. So master plan is the guiding growth document for a jurisdiction, a county, a town. And what a comprehensive plan looks at, and planning in general, is the health, safety, and general welfare of a community. Also, how does the community want to grow? So with this document, which per state law, it's 10-year document, looking out 10 years. And we want to know, how does the county, how do you as Carroll County residents want your county to grow? So when people come to some of our open houses, they say, how do you want the county to grow? Or you want it to grow fast or slow? It's like, we say to people, this is where your voices, we want to hear from you. How do you want your county to grow in the next 10 years? And with all this documentation, all this information we put together into a plan, a master plan. And the master plan looks at different things, land use. And land use, that is implemented through, as I think many of you know, zoning. Land use map, the implementation of planning is zoning, and also capital investments, roads, infrastructure, water and sewer. One of the things that I do at the county is water and sewer planning countywide. And the county has growth areas. For instance, Manchester, Hampstead, Westminster, the Freedom area down around Eldersburg. We have water and sewer, public water and sewer infrastructure, so you can build more densely instead of on well and septic. So putting all this stuff, all this information, all this input from the community, how do you want your county to grow? And historically, the county has these growth areas, these 9 growth areas. You have around the towns, and Sykesville is part of the Freedom growth area, and then you have Finksburg as well. So what is a master plan? Just to give a little, that was my little background on what is a master plan. And Javier, I will let you talk about why is this process important?
Well, the whole master plan process, at the end of the day, I like to put it in simple terms, it's the vision how the county is going to look like in the next 10 years. It is key that the community be engaged in this process, because it's one of those few opportunities that everyone has the opportunity to share what they want the county to look like, how they want their communities to look like long term. In order for us to do this, we schedule several events similar to the outreach that I provided in the flyers. Next week we're going to be in this area, Northern Carroll, and basically we're looking to get the message out there, not just of the importance, but also that community to understand that in the master plan there are 5 main driving ideas behind it, which is housing, economic development, rural character of the county, infrastructure, and agencies working together or interagency groups. These are the 5 main driving factors that will help us and help all of us actually create the Carroll County that we want. We understand, for an example, recently we had a housing study which gave information, not just us as an agency, but that community, to further understand the housing situation in Carroll County. Same with the economic development study. So that's why it's important to have all this information, to attend the outreach events that we have, and have your voices heard during the master plan process, because that is the perfect opportunity to make the change or create the change that we want in Carroll County.
Absolutely.
Straight to the point.
And next Thursday, from 1 to 7, we'll be down at the North Carroll Branch Library. As you know, you're the manager, right, of the library. We'll be down there, sort of like a road show. We've been going to all the different, we have 5 outreach events, and they're all the same. And no matter what time you come in, you get the same information. It doesn't matter if you come in at 2 o'clock or 6:30. We started out at Carroll Community College. We last week we were at Mount Airy Library. Yesterday we were at Ponytown. Next week we'll be at North Carroll, and then last but not least, will be down in Eldersburg at their library. So the county master plan, it's Carroll County 2035 master plan. We would love for you all to come to the outreach event, take the survey online, because like we mentioned, we want to hear from you. How do you want your county, Carroll County, to grow in the future? So,
Something that I would like to add, if it's not possible for you to attend the open house events, you can also go online, Carroll County, it's carroll2035.org. There you will find information about the master plan, the driving ideas, and you will also have surveys, two surveys where you can share your opinion or your vision of how you would like Carroll County to look like.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So if anyone has any questions, we would love to answer them.
Yeah, I have a question. When this is set up and everything, how is this presented to the legislature to have it implemented?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. So master plan, first, really the Planning and Zoning Commission is tasked to develop a master plan. The Planning and Zoning Commission, once it's presented to them and they vote to adopt a plan, then the plan goes to the legislative body, which in Carroll County's case is the Board of County Commissioners. Then they would review the plan, and if they like it, they would adopt it, and then the plan would become, it'd be the adopted county master plan, and then moving from that plan, you would have things like what happened 10 years ago. Well, 10 years ago is when the last master plan was updated, but then things spur off of that plan. For instance, comprehensive zoning changes. So it's really, it goes to the Planning Commission, then it goes to the Board of County Commissioners, and once they vote to approve it, then that becomes the adopted policy, the adopted guiding growth policy document, growth and development document for the county.
Okay.
Wonderful question. Thank you. Guy.
Give me an answer, give me a typical answer that people will respond to you, to your question. How do you want your county to develop? What's a typical answer you hear a lot?
It is a wide variety.
Give me an example of one.
Stay rural.
That right. I mean that could be to stay rural, like Tammy you mentioned. They don't want it to grow, or we had comments on the board if we would like anything from wanting 27 to stay a 2-lane road to we want basically a Dunkin' Donuts at this
Okay, so you
area
get everything
here.
across the board. Okay, then my next question is, how much influence does the information that you get and present, how much influence does that actually have when you boil it down and get it down to the individual municipalities?
Well, and you bring up a good question, or a good comment, because this master plan is not for the municipalities. Towns like Hampstead,
Okay.
Manchester, they have their own planning and zoning authority. So Michelle, who was just here, she is the zoning administrator for the town of Manchester. So Manchester will have their own plan. They do. I think it's their 2018 plan. They have their own zoning authority. So with zoning, when development comes to the county, still there is a little bit of development that the process would involve county bureaus. Because like for instance, when I worked at Westminster and all the towns are small enough, there's not specialty reviewers on staff like stormwater management reviews. So part of reviews happen at the county, but for planning and zoning, for the towns at least, it is in the individual towns. So Michelle, for Manchester, you have Mark Depot over in Westminster, and this is just for unincorporated Carroll County. So the entire area outside, sorry Javier, all the properties that have a color besides gray, which gray are the 8 incorporated municipalities of Carroll County. So right here at Dutch Corner, which is in the town of Manchester, this plan will not affect, and so any land use decisions won't affect this property we're on because we're in the town of Manchester.
Okay. But anything outside of town corporate limits,
You're
that's where
yeah.
you're in charge.
Absolutely
Okay.
correct.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
How do you think the power lines are going to affect your plan?
We've been hearing that a lot.
Well, my house is right in the
Okay.
line.
Mine too.
The power lines, as you all know, and I definitely do not want to speak for the Board of County Commissioners, but they have made it known that they are totally against the power lines. So we're carrying on with this plan, and Javier, from what you know and from what I know, right now, power lines not affecting
Yeah,
us
not
moving
taken into
forward.
consideration.
Right. Because that may or may not happen. So we're moving through, and we don't have any control over that with
Neither
the
do
Department
we.
of Planning and Land Management.
So if they do come through, then you'll have to reshuffle.
We don't probably, I would not think so, but I don't wanna say that as a hard line, yes or no, because the county does not have any control over that. It's just, we're looking with the county holistically, and that is its own process, really up in the state level.
So this is done, it's done every 10 years.
Exactly, yeah.
So is there a, I guess, once you guys decide what the final plan is going to be, is there a look back to see if it was accomplished, how things changed over the last 10 years?
That's a wonderful question. A couple years ago, we did the mid-cycle review of the 2014 Carroll County Master Plan that was amended in 2019. And with that, the county keeps a list of what goals have been accomplished. So to your point, wonderful question. The county looks at that, has the plan, how have we done with implementing this plan? And that information, I believe it's still on our website. It's under, if you go to Carroll County Bureau of Comprehensive Planning website, under Master Plans, and you see the Carroll County, the mid-cycle review to the Carroll County Master Plan, that information should all be there. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think the elephant in the room with all of this is how are we going to afford development if the development in this county wants to stay agrarian? Because then there won't be any land for businesses to come in and build whatever their building needs, and therefore we won't get the tax revenue to support all of the development, if in fact we can even have development, given the two sides of the coin here, stay agrarian, let's develop. It doesn't seem like there's a middle ground for anybody.
And that's a wonderful question, because in the as Javier mentioned, in the economic development and land use study that was completed about a year and a half ago, or a year and a month ago, in there, it talked about just what you were mentioning, how, and this was, the commissioners contracted a consultant, private consultant, to come in and review. And with that, there was several growth scenarios. There were 4 of them, A, B, C, and D, and they had the low level of growth from A all the way up to very high level of growth, which would be scenario D. And with the public input, feedback, when we had public outreach for the economic development and land use study, most of the public that came to the outreach wanted a growth scenario of C. So it was, and to get in the details on that would be, I would have to look back in the economic development and land use study, which is also on our website. If you go even into Google or Bing or any of the search engines, if you type in Carroll County Economic Development and Land Use Study, that will pop up. Or I should say, it does on my computer. But that study looked at different things: public input, infrastructure, do we have water? And there was this low to moderate growth, because the public, and I even mentioned this at the Board of County Commissioners meeting, and one of the commissioners, that it was nice to see that the public understood what you just said, that there has to be some type of income coming into the county to pay for services that we have all come to, I don't want to say.
Enjoy.
But enjoy, exactly, good word choice. Exactly, to enjoy. So the trade-offs, I don't know, do you have anything to add?
Well,
Javier?
this is why,
So what you're saying then is, with Plan C, and I don't know what's in Plan C, there'd be some moderate growth.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
there'd be moderate growth, therefore there would be some taxable income coming in from the businesses that are coming into the county. So that might keep a lid on our personal taxes on our houses, or, you know, the taxes that we, the people that live here, will have to pay in order to support the county. Because there's a lot of spending that is on everybody's wish list, particularly the Board of Education. And then you talk about the emergency services, the newly created paid emergency services. And, you know, they're great plans that are out there, but there was no way to support them financially. So the commissioners are kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because they don't have the money to give these people to support. And if we don't get the development and can't tax the people that are coming in and doing the development, then it's going to become a burden on the people that already live here, I would think.
And what you said, you know, wonderful point with that. In the EDLU study, we call it, just for short, in there, and I can send you the link, and if you would like
Please.
to share it with everyone. In that study also talks about prime properties, prime locations
Right.
for development, taking into consideration water, sewer, roadways, you know, the public capital infrastructure that goes along, like I mentioned, with zoning, for development, and along with, you know, market forces. But I forgot how many were in there, if it was 25 or 30-ish. Let's say, for round numbers, please don't hold me to this, like, let's say there's 30 properties all around the county, the closest ones being in the North Carroll Business Park, right down at the base of the radio tower at Hampstead, across from the park. But there was different, I should say that the whole basis of that study was, what can we develop? How do we want to develop? And that study didn't give any recommendations. It was put together as another bucket of facts, like the housing study, to help inform this master plan process too, that we're just getting started with. Because right now we're at the public input stage. So like we mentioned, we'd love to come, everybody to come to the North Carroll Branch Library next week. And please let us know what your thoughts and how you want the county to move forward. This is just two of the boards of many. We have literally a whole van full of stuff for everyone to look at, material. When you come in, and sorry, before I move on, I think I've answered your question.
Well, it's an unanswerable question at this point, because as I understand from the Department of Economic Development, that study they did, there are parcels of land that are carved out as developable land for, you know, them to go out and advertise, come work in our county, here you can build a building here. But they're on the side of a hill, or they're full of granite and they have to be dynamited, much like the school, which is right next to where I work, which is Burke. So they're not as attractive as they are on paper when you actually go look at them. So, again, getting back to the agrarian economy that we live in, we love to be in this county because of that. But, you know, we're looking for a unicorn that doesn't exist as far as developing and bringing money into the county if we're going to continue to stay as we are. So you can't really answer that question, and I apologize for asking.
No, you are fine. You are fine. No, totally. Well, and with you asking that question, that's why we want input. How do you want the county to look? But then, like you're saying, also taking into constraints that we don't have any control of, like water and sewer. We only have water and sewer. Right. But the county as a whole only has so much. We don't have reservoirs like Baltimore City where you got like the Pretty Boy Reservoir. I see that sign of it, 13 billion gallons or something like that. But how do you all want, with constraints we have, want the county to grow? And with the open house next week, when you walk in, there'll be, hopefully, if Javier, nothing happens like getting sick or anything, but I don't want to jinx you. Javier will be there at the table, greeting you, give you some information, then you'll come in. And there's different stations. For instance, housing, economic development, the rural Carroll County infrastructure, working together, like interjurisdictional coordination with the towns, Baltimore Metropolitan Council, which is the metropolitan planning organization for the Baltimore area. And so towns, and also work with the state, different state agencies. You come through, there's informational boards, you take as long as you would like to review them. And then at each station, we have boards where you can take a sticky note, board just like this, but a map of Carroll County, and one that will be magnified to the Hampstead, Manchester area. And if you have a comment and you want to stick on the board, put it on the board. We welcome that. We want that. That's why we're here. We're going to be here next week. And then when we get finished, we take that information back and input it into the computer. So when we're finished, we can review all of them holistically and take that information into account while drafting the master plan. So that's what will occur next week. And it doesn't, like I mentioned, it doesn't matter if you come in at 2 o'clock, it doesn't matter if you come in at 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock, you'll have the same experience as at any time, at any of our events. Whether it was Tonytown yesterday or Eldersburg in 2 weeks. Any questions? Yes?
Is this, I guess it's too hard. Is this part of the old Glendenning, like sprawn stuff that was mandated, then who's funding this? Like,
But it's still
all
on there, the
implementation.
law's still on there, did they modify it?
That
law
was
like
smart growth.
1997.
That was
Yes,
a smart growth, I think it was, in the early 90s. So smart growth, that, I can't, because I don't want to say yes or no, because I don't know with all the laws that could have, part of a law in the land use article is still in there from this, but for funding, this is the county, this is the county's outreach. Javier and I are county employees. Everyone who's at the event working this will be county employees. That's one of our big jobs as the Comprehensive Planning Bureau is this master plan. And one of the big jobs of the Planning Commission, the County Planning Commission, is to review, draft, and adopt this plan, because this is the guiding growth document for the next 10 years. And with the whole planning, the purpose behind planning and zoning to protect, and which is really the big purpose of government, is to protect the health, safety, and general welfare of the population.
And I'm sorry, I know I've looked over this, but I can't remember everything. You're mostly looking at the zoning, but are you looking at, for example, smart growth in Carroll County? If you build outside of a municipality or city, you can only do seven houses, whether it's 100 acres or 5 acres. Is that something in the master plan that they were looking to change?
I am not 100% sure
I
on
thought I
that.
heard something.
I don't know anything specifically with that, but if that's a comment, if people want to change that, I mean, we can put it as a comment, but that would have to go. And with that, that's codified into the law.
Right. Right.
So that would be, you have to look into that more, but with the master plan, zoning implements the plan. But I'm sorry, Tammy, I just don't want to say
No, that's
yes or
okay.
no to that particular
Not
thing
too much longer, otherwise they're gonna kill them.
without having the history behind how that became, because I don't want to tell you and everyone one thing and it be incorrect.
But you're right, it's part of the code, not part of the plan.
Go viral.
Any other questions?
No, think we're good.
Oh, okay.
Did it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.